Just a reminder to vote in this week's Locals poll, where you decide what deck I take to Locals every single week. Without any further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video. What's up YouTube, and welcome back to another deck profile. This time we are bringing you Dragunity. So this is one of those retroactive profiles for decks that I've already taken to Locals before I decided to start doing deck profile videos for the decks I take to Locals. So yeah, without any further ado, here's what the deck looks like on paper, and then we'll get into the profile. Alright, so starting off with our higher level monsters, running one Dragunity Armagran and two Mistletoe. So Gram is kind of like a secondary win condition. You can banish two, special summon it from either your hand or grave, and then debuffs and negates an opponent's monster. Mistletoe is basically like an extender where you can tribute a Dragunity from your side of the field, special summon it, and then it equips itself with a dragon from the grave. So this is good for just extending your plays to make your level 10 synchros. Next are the winged beasts. So we have two Dragunity Senatist, two Dragunity Legatus, three Dragunity Ducks, and then one Legionnaire. So Senatus, discard one, equip a Dragunity from the deck. Legatus is a free special summon if you have either a Dragon Ravine or a Dragunity monster on your field. Ducks equips one from the grave when normal summoned. And then it's basically the exact same thing as Ducks with Legionnaire, except it's a level 3, so this can unlock level 7 synchro plays if you want. Next, for the Dragon Tuners, we have one Guizarm, two Remus, three Koos, and two Phalanx. So, Guizarm, this is mainly used if you want to go for one of your level 7s. Remus, you can discard this to add Dragon Ravine, and it can also revive itself to help you make Romulus. Koos, this is the main one you want because you can treat it as a level 2 or level 4 for your synchro plays. And then two Phalanx just as another level 2 option. Then there's also another card it can work with that we'll talk about later. And then for the last two monsters, we have one Tribus and one Brandistock. So Tribus is a Foolish Burial on summon, and it works really well with Mistletoe. You can normal summon Tribus, dump Koos, activate Mistletoe, tribute this, and then instant level 10. And Brandistock is one you don't want to draw. It gets equipped from the deck with a different card that we'll talk about later, but when it's equipped, the monster it's equipped to gets 2 attacks per battle phase. Alright, so now to go on to the spells. So first off is Dragunity Whirlwind. We're running that at 2. One Dragunity Draft, two Dragunity Glow, and two Dragunity Divine Lance. So this is kind of like a double emergency teleport, where if your opponent controls a monster and you don't, you can get 2 Dragunities from your deck, and then if one of the monsters your opponent controls is an extra deck monster, you can synchro summon. So this is just really good for starting your plays. Dragunity Draft lets you recycle one of your wing beasts, and then it turns your Dragunity Synchro into an Ancient Gear, where it's unaffected by everything when it attacks. Glow allows you to search either Armagram or Mistletoe. And then Divine Lance, this is what you use with Brandistock to equip it from the deck. So you equip this to one of your synchros, it gains 100 attack times its level, so for a level 10, that's 1,000 attack, and then you can equip Brandistock from the deck with this to give it 2 attacks. And then finally, we, of course, have 3 Dragon Ravine. We want to see this as quickly as possible. This is the field spell for the deck. We also run 3 cards of Consonants because Dragon Tuners, obviously just free advantage there. Also with Graveyard setup, we can discard Koos, draw 2, and then normal summon Ducks. So those are the more dragon-centric spells that aren't necessarily Dragunity cards, but they kind of are at the same time, but they're not in name. Then we just have 3 more generic spells. So we have Burial from Different Dimension, Terraforming, and 1-for-1. So 1-for-1 helps you get Tribus from the deck while also setting up your graveyard. So you can get a free Foolish Burial without even normal summoning. Terraforming, so we can get Dragon Ravine as soon as possible, because why wouldn't you want that? And then Burial from a Different Dimension, specifically the level 10 Synchro monsters, they banish Dragunities from your graveyard to activate effects. So this is just a way to kind of restock your graveyard. And then finally for the traps, we're running 3 traps. We have 1 Dragunity Legion, 1 Oubliette, and 1 Jar of Avarice. So Legion will let you equip stuff from the graveyard, or you can special summon a Dragunity that's equipped to something. We're mainly using it to equip Brandistock from the graveyard in case our original play gets outed. Oubliette is a counter trap. So specifically for spell and trap effects, so unfortunately it doesn't affect monsters, which is why I'm only running this at 1, because most of your effects are going to be coming from monsters, but this is a spell and trap negate. And then finally, 1 Jar of Avarice, because this deck can burn through resources fairly quickly, so this is a way to kind of get things like Dux or Senatus back into the deck. Alright, so that's going to be it for the main deck. Now for the extra deck. So, first we're running 2 copies of Dragunity Knight Romulus. So when it's summoned, you can add any Dragunity spell or trap or a Dragon Ravine. So this is really flexible. A lot of times I try to add the Equip spell off of this to try to facilitate OTKs if I'm going second. Or if I'm going first and can make this, then I'm obviously searching for the counter trap. Next, we're running 1 Dragunity Knight Lewin and then 3 Dragunity Knight Vajriana. Then, continuing on for our level 6s, we have 1 Gaibolg and 1 Gaidurg. So, these are our level 6s. Lewin, this one, I think I've maybe summoned it once in the 3 or 4 years I've played this deck. But if you summon it, and then use it for Synchro Summon, it becomes an equipped spell on the Synchro Summon monster that gives it extra 1,000 attack point boost. So, you know, if you can use it, then you get some value off of it there. Vajriana is the main one you're going for, though, because this one lets you Synchro Climb by equipping a Dragunity Tuner from your grave. And then you have Gaibolg. This one, you can banish a Wing Beast to increase its attack by the banished monster's attack. But if you equip this with Divine Lance and then equip Brandistock with it, you can do it every time it declares an attack. Because it's only... because if this card attacks or is attacked during the damage step. So you can actually do that multiple times if you're attacking multiple times. And then finally, Gaidurg. This one is just a searcher. Not really much more to say about that. Next for level 7s, we have 1 Trident and 1 Gornfalbar. So these are the 2 level 7 synchros for the deck. This one lets you equip Guizarm from the graveyard and then tune this to make a level 10. And then this one is kind of one where if you are in a good position and you have the ability to do that, this one's basically a win more card, but you can send any number of Dragunity cards you control to the graveyard and send an equal number of opponent's cards from their extra deck to the graveyard. So this is just good for picking apart your opponent's extra deck. And then for level 8, we of course have 1 Dragunity Knight Barcha. When it's Synchro Summon, this gets as many dragons from your graveyard as possible as equips. For the level 10s, double Dragunity Knight Ascalon and double Dragunity Knight Outright Bear. So Ascalon banishes a Dragunity to banish an opponent's monster. And then Outright Bear is a monster negate by banishing a Dragunity from your grave. When this one gets destroyed, you special summon a Dragunity from your extra deck. I usually like to go for Barcha, so we can just immediately get a free Romulus next turn. And then Outright Bear, when it gets destroyed, it pops all your opponent's back row. So yeah, that's it for the deck profile. Let's shuffle up and we'll get to some test hands. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay, so starting off with Terraforming, Cards of Consonance, Divine Lance, Koos, and Draft. Okay, so I'm going to emulate going second here because ideally that's what I like to do, is to go second so I can try to OTK, especially with getting Divine Lance. So we're going to go ahead and draw a 6th card, which is another Koos. Okay. So what we would do here is, since we have Cards of Consonance and can draw 2, there's a chance we can draw into Dragunity, so we're actually going to activate Terraforming first. This way we could bait out an Ash, but assuming there would be none, then we would search ourselves a Dragon Ravine. There it is. Alright, so we get ourselves a Dragon Ravine. And so what we would then do is we go ahead and activate the Dragon Ravine, but we wouldn't activate its effect yet, because first what we're actually going to do is Cards of Consonance, so we can discard Koos, and we'll draw 2. So here we go. 1, 2. Okay. So this is what we're working with here. So now what we'll probably do is, assuming there has been, no ashes on either the Terraforming or the Cards of Consonance, I think it's pretty safe to activate the search effect of Dragon Ravine. So we'll dump the Koos and search out a Dux. So now we just got to find the Dux. There we go. All right. We would then proceed to normal summon said Dux, which will activate its effect, equipping the Koos from the graveyard to our spell and trap zone. All right. We'll activate Koos, special summon it. Since we already normal summoned, we'll synchro for 6 into Vajrayana. Vajrayana will activate, equipping Koos from the grave. The effect to special summon is not once per turn, so we'll special summon again. Now remember, Koos can be treated as a level 4 for a synchro summon of a Dragunity, so we're going to go 6 plus 4 for 10. Now, again, we're acting like we're going second here, so we go for Ascalon, because then we can just banish some of the Dragunities to answer what's on our opponent's board. Or if I know the player has Nibiru and I'm scared of Nibiru, I can actually go for a Red Bear because it can negate the Nibiru. But assuming no Nibiru, we're going to go for Ascalon. So then what we would do here is we'd go ahead and activate Dragunity Divine Lance, equipping it to Ascalon. Since it's a level 10, it gains 1,000 attack, bringing it to 4,300. Then we'll activate the effect of Divine Lance to equip the Ascalon with the Brandistock from our deck. So now that Ascalon is equipped with Brandistock, it can attack twice during the battle phase. And speaking of the battle phase, what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and activate Dragunity Draft. So what we're going to do is when this card's activated, we can add a Dragunity from our graveyard to our hand. So we're going to go ahead and grab back the Dux so we can use it next turn. So that goes to our hand. And now when it attacks, so yeah, a level 5 or higher Dragunity, let me clarify. Since it's level 5 or higher, when it attacks, it's unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of the damage step. Alright, so now we've got a 4,300 beat stick that can potentially attack twice directly. Alright, because they're going to attack twice because of this guy, and because of its banish effect. We have currently we have 3 that we can banish right now. So a 4300 beat stick that can attack twice, potentially attacking twice directly. So, but hypothetically, if our opponent lives, we've got Oubliette in the back row. So that would be basically it for this test hand combo. We'll reshuffle, and then we'll do another one. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, Terraforming. Dragunity Whirlwind, nice. Phalanx, not bad. Legatus is good. Burial from a Different Dimension, again, not bad. And then, again, ideally, we'll be going second, so we're going to draw a 6th card, being Dragunity Koos. Okay, so very similarly to the last game, we're actually going to fire off Terraforming first to bait an Ash. Or it doesn't even have to be an Ash, it can just be any sort of Omni-Negate like Borreload Savage Dragon, or to use last week's locals when I was playing Goki against Dragon Link, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. So this would be used to bait out any sort of negation. So, but assuming, you know, because this is ideal, assuming that there would be no negation, we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves a Dragon Ravine from the deck. Alright, so there's the Dragon Ravine. We will then go ahead and activate said Dragon Ravine. Alright, now, if our opponent did not Ash that, especially since he knows we're playing Dragunity, and he doesn't want us to get to Dragon Ravine, we are now in the clear to activate Dragunity Whirlwind. So we're going to go ahead and slap that on down. So basically, since we control no monsters, we can get a Dragunity Wingbeast and a Dragon straight from our deck. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we'll grab ourselves a Senatus and a Remus from our deck. Then, as per the effect, if our opponent has an extra deck monster, we can immediately, after the effect resolve, Synchro Summon. We're going to assume that they do, so then we're going to Synchro for 6. Or actually, wait, no. No, we're not. Because I have something better. So what we're going to do is instead of Synchroing for 6, we're actually going to link into Romulus. Alright, we're going to use Romulus to go ahead and search for... see what's in our hand here. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to search for the Dragunity Divine Lance. Because, again, we want OTK here. Then we will go ahead and activate the effect of Dragon Ravine. We will go ahead and pitch the Phalanx in our hand to search for a Dux. So we're going to do that right quick. If I can find the Dux. There it is. Jeez. Didn't see one until like I was like halfway through the deck. Alright, so then we would proceed to just like last time, what we're going to do is actually what we can do. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, so what we're going to do, normal summon Dux. Phalanx. Phalanx special summon. Synchro 6. For, of course, Vajrayana. Bada bing, bada boom. Vajrayana equips Phalanx from grave. Now, obviously, to make a level 10, we want Koos, and it's still in our hand. So, what we're going to do is actually activate the second effect of Romulus to special Koos from our hand to the zone it points to. Synchro 10. This time we'll go for a red bear because, you know, why not? Divine Lance. Equip with Brand to stock. Alright. A red bear can now attack twice, and it also banishes any monster it battles. So, yeah. There's that, and we can actually extend further, because since we control a Dragon Ravine, we can actually special summon the Remus from grave. He gets banished when it leaves the field, though, unfortunately. We'll special summon the Legatus from our hand, since it has the exact same condition. We'll Synchro for 6. And this time, we'll actually go for Guidurg. And then we'll activate Guidurg's effect to add a level 4 or lower dragon or winged beast monster from deck to hand, then discard a dragon or winged beast. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're just going to kind of thin out the deck here. So we'll replace the Remus, so we'll add this Remus and then immediately discard it for the effect of Guidurg, because our first Remus is banished. So we have that. And so, yeah, we have this on the board, which is most likely going to be lethal. And we also have this in our hand, so we can restock our graveyard with Dragunities. So, yeah, that's basically what the deck does. So, I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. We went undefeated at this Locals when we just did casual games. There wasn't enough people for a tournament. It was getting close to when the high school was going to do graduation. But we went 2-0, defeating Scareclaw and Virtual World. So, yeah, it was really fun. This deck's awesome. It's really, really fun. And, yeah, so I hope you enjoyed. Vote in the weekly Locals polls, so that way you guys get to decide what decks I bring to Locals. And, yeah, I'll see you next time.